Welcome to Heaven on Earth podcast. I'm Raiin. Today is Tea Talk Tuesday, where I have fascinating panel members from around the world coming together to talk about social issues, politics, and daily life experiences. Hopefully, we can discover solutions, have new insights, but mainly, it's time to hear the voice of the people. In honor of National Women's History Month, I am delighted to introduce 3 inspirational women that I have the pleasure of knowing personally. First, we have Malia Morris, Director of Operations for a restaurant group in Los Angeles, California, proud mother and family provider. Glinda Dopazzo, an actress based in Los Angeles, California, a bartender and a manager. Finally, Venetia Wilson, contract analyst, a proud mother of 2, and a writer. Ladies, welcome to Tea Talk Tuesday. Let's get started. The first topic of today, stimulus checks. Yes, the new administration has approved and are currently distributing the latest stimulus package for COVID-19. This package consists of $1,400 check for all adults, up to $3,600 per child over several payments, and they've increased the unemployment to an additional $300 a week. Now, ladies, do you feel this is a sufficient amount of money to help assist Americans in this time of need? You know, we're coming out of COVID-19, or I'm hoping that we are. We're in a recovery space. Is this sufficient? Is this enough?
This is Malia. I'd like to just jump in and say, working in the restaurant industry is so interesting to see dollar amounts placed on these kind of stimulus checks. First of all, of course, we're all very appreciative of them, those who receive them. Second of all, I think that just thinking about the way that our minimum wage is in the world, that's not enough for the average family. Even the average person who lives alone, it's not enough. So for the stimulus check to come once every so often, it's not a recurring stimulus check. This is not every 2 weeks. This is not something that's going to continue to help everyone to get by. It's supposed to be some little jump start. So no, I don't think it's enough. I think, I mean, obviously it's appreciated because it could be zero. So let's make sure that it's clear that it's always appreciated, for this country. But in addition to that, there are stipulations on people who can get it. If you make more than $80,000 a year, you can't get it. But what if you take care of XYZ amount of people? So there's certain people who need it that still can't get it. In addition to that, there are, they're adding a little bit here, a little bit there to the people who are on unemployment, and I get that too. But if you wanted to go there, the unemployment by itself is not enough to sustain anyone. Let's say you make a good amount of money and you're only getting the max $450, and you got to let it take the tax out. So you're getting $400 a week. So you throw that little extra $300 on there, but it's like you're still not getting enough to maintain what you were making before. So yes, these checks are appreciated. Yes, these additional little bumps are appreciated, but are they sustainable? Are they making it so that people can still do what they have to do and pay the bills that are not being reduced? No.
Thank you
No,
so much, Malia. Anybody else have an opinion on the stimulus check? And is it enough? Is it sufficient?
This is Venetia. I feel like I would only be able to say yes to that if our country was set up in a way to where we had the means prior to, basically zombie apocalypse to be able to sustain ourselves, because I know that's a little tricky, but I feel like had maybe even I learned about certain financing things and credit and all this type of stuff at a younger age, then maybe I would have, had known to like have a cushion or whatever. I mean, I know that now, but I'm just saying, like, for those people who are really getting slapped in the face financially by this pandemic, a lot of those people are the same people that were getting slapped in the face financially with this economy anyway. So it's just like double slap, So if we were in a better situation with our education as far as like finances and just credit, how credit works and how unfair it is anyway, that's a whole nother discussion. But I think that maybe we could have been like, oh, that's cool, a little something to add to what I already have to help sustain me through the storm. So
great
I know that's
point.
probably a different way to look at it, but that's how I feel about it. I can't even say I'm grateful.
You know, I want to jump in there. This is Malia. I agree 100%. And that's what I'm saying. Like we are already not set up for success. So that bump is, yes, it's appreciated, but it's helping a little bit. It's not helping in the long run. I agree 100%. Because you're saying we weren't set up for success. If we were already ready, if we already had a means of what is it called, rating day, you know, having a little bit extra for rain, like those things. And it's not necessarily because we came from the hood or because we make this or make that. It's overall. Like things like, and I'm going so far fetched, things like paying for healthcare. Let's throw that in there. And whereas other countries don't, we do. So let's say all that money that I've paid for healthcare over my lifetime, over my
it's okay, Malia. It's okay.
All right.
But you know what I mean? That money, let's utilize and say, I could have used that money as a cushion to say, you know what, that little stimulus check, the $1,200 or $1,400, that's a little bit of help to go with the such and such that I got saved up. Well, thank you so much. Like my brain would be contoured differently to accept that stimulus as a positive, as opposed to when is the next one coming? You know, so I agree. I just want to say I agree with you 100%. Like if we were set up differently as a unit, as a nation, then we would appreciate it differently. And not that we don't appreciate it now, but we would understand, like, yeah, it's okay that they give it to us every so often. I'm already
Thank you for speaking up and having a voice for those who are feeling that way, because so often they are assuming that everyone is set up for success prior to this happening. And that's kind of how I feel, perhaps, that they are addressing the whole situation. But, you know, people are struggling. People are going through challenges. Glenda, did you want to add anything to that part of the question?
Yeah, sure. I mean, is it enough? No, absolutely not. Not enough. The unemployment's not enough, at least not for me. I haven't even gotten the second stimulus, the $600, because I couldn't do my taxes last year. So now I'm actually on the process of trying to, you know, get my taxes going for 2019 and 2020 so I can get both the seconds, you know, the 600 and now this one that's coming to everybody else, because I won't be receiving that either until I get my taxes, which is what I heard. I heard that I can get it once I do my taxes.
Oh.
So I don't know.
No, thank you for sharing that, because I forget that a lot of people, not necessarily everyone, you know, does their taxes, and as a result, they won't be receiving the stimulus package.
Yeah, I just couldn't afford to get my taxes done last year.
Well, let me ask, so I'm going to throw this out there. I know some of you are moms. I've spoken to several people that are single and don't have children, and they were saying that they were a little unhappy about the $3,600 per child because they felt it was unfair, because they work just as hard as anyone else, and they feel as if they should be entitled to receive extra money as well. How do you feel about that?
This is Renisha. I'm sorry. I'm laughing a little, but it's not with malice at all. I laugh at stuff I shouldn't. I just want to say, like, I've been single, no kids, scraping by. And I always just had a bleeding heart for the friends that I did have at that time that had kids, and they were scraping just as hard as me. We both like, dang, we struggling. I'm like, no, you struggling. If you struggling like me with kids, you know, like, and that's like no judgment. All those kids are doing great, but it's actually, I'm not offended by that at all, because I get it in the sense that, you know, as a society, we definitely want to feel equal on all levels, regardless, right? Regardless whether you have kids, married, whatever. But in actuality, what it boils down to is, you know, food in the belly, you know, and that's like a basic survival instinct that you're going to, even if you don't have a roof or clothes on your back, you're going to want to get food to live, right? So if you have children, child, or even are pregnant, that is like on the forefront of your mind. Like, I might not be able to buy you a gift, you know, I might not be able to take you to Disneyland, but I'm feeding you. Exactly. So I mean, maybe the ratios may seem a little off, but none of us are in the streets having a ticker tape parade about the money that we're getting just because we have children.
Great point.
I'm not judging, just saying.
Right. Just a statement. No, this is Malia. I want to jump in on that. I want to piggyback. I have a son, and I also help take care of my niece, and also, am an advocate for children and the understanding of what you need to do to take care of a child, and like Venetia said, it's food. It is to nourish them. It is to make sure they're eating, because if they don't eat, then they go through different health things. So we need to make sure that they're eating. Now, but I want to say it's 30, unless somebody jump in, it's 3,600 per child, or 3,600 if you just have.
I believe it's 3,600 per child that will be paid out in increments.
Okay, so if let's go with that. If it is indeed 3,600 per child, what I do think that there is and Venetia, you kind of touched on this, there is a little bit of a dollar amount discrepancy. So you're telling me, as a person by myself, I'm only worth 1,200, but someone younger than me is worth 3,600. Now, what that's
interesting,
where
yeah.
it might tell me, listen, Linda, something's wrong here, honey. Now, if you were saying 3,600 to a single person, 3,600 to the parent who is with child, and 3,600 per child, so that makes sense to me. 3,600 per person is what I would ideally say that makes sense to. Or if you're going to do 1,200, do 1,200 per person. Whatever it is, it should be per person. I think that's
good,
where we're fair. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't want anyone to hear that and say, take away the 3,600. That's not what I'm saying. But I think that if it's 36, boo, it's 36 all day. It's 36 for me, for you, for the little one, number one, little one, number two. It should be 36 overall, like, if that's how we're going to do it, because that is what Venetia was saying. That's how we jump into equality 100%.
Yeah.
That makes sense to me. And I'm saying that being a parent, and it's so funny because my son just turned 19, or when he turned 18, whatever, he's 19 now, so I don't get anything for him either. I also don't think that I can get a stimulus check, so it's neither here nor there for me particularly, but for everyone who has children, doesn't have children, like you said, pregnant or whatever, everything that's going on, even like you said, a single person who is going to be single. Like, this world is not set up for anyone to be successful unless we're breaking our backs trying to do it. So it should be the same dollar.
Thank you all. That's brilliant. I didn't think about it from that perspective, and this is going to start some great conversations at home. Now let's move into next question. California exodus. I don't know if you've heard about this, but it was reported in 2019, 650,000 people moved out of California. In 2020, 267,000 people left California, and it would have been more, but of course we were going through the pandemic. Now, Tesla, Oracle, Hewlett-Packard are all part of the Silicon Valley, which is a large portion of California's wealth. They've all moved out of California. A lot of people working in San Francisco specifically that I know, because I'm out here right now, they are working remotely due to the pandemic. So now they are moving out of state back to their family and friends, and they're still making that California money, but now they're able to purchase their own homes. Now they're able to create a livelihood that allows them to sustain a different way of life. Now, have you ever considered leaving California? Is the cost of living out of control here?
This is Malia. 100% the cost of living is out of control. However, I was born and raised in LA, and I have never thought about leaving LA. I've thought about visiting places, whatever. I've never thought about leaving. But it is a smart idea. Whoever is doing what they're doing as far as getting that LA money and living over there in Nobody'sville, but I mean, listen, that's genius. It's genius. But I've never thought about it, but it is a great thing to think about. It is naive of me to not think about it at this present time. When you're talking about the quantity of people who have left in 2019, the quantity of people who left in 2020, actually one of my vendors left the Bay. One of my coffee vendors I use left the Bay, and they're in Nevada now. You guys know the Nevada properties are very new, very cheap. and very available, and they're continuously to build. So it makes sense to move to Nevada and then still ship to LA, because the price of shipping is going to be the same because of the difference of time. Like, you're leaving the Bay, which is 8 hours away, 6 hours if I'm driving, but it's 8 hours away, and then you're going to Nevada, which is 3 hours away if I'm driving, 5 hours on a regular. The time is still the same. The shipping amount should be still the same. So it makes sense for some people to move to certain areas. It may hurt overall, having your local media and things like that, having your local guests, but overall, if it makes sense, it makes sense. But are we talking about how many people came to California?
Right.
We're just talking about who left. There's still a huge amount of out-of-town cars that I haven't seen around here, that I'm seeing around here, that people learn how to drive like LA people. So there's a huge number of people that have infiltrated as well. Infiltrated. That's such a harsh word. But there's a huge. Y'all done gave me coffee.
You don't need coffee,
so.
Malia.
Just some fresh beet juice and ginger juice. That's all.
They gave it to me.
There you go.
Oh, I take my ginger shots now. But let's talk about the number of people that are coming in, because it still takes me 45 minutes to get to work when it should only take 15.
But
so is this number, like, where do we feel that number? Where do we feel it?
Can I say something though? Why are we caring so much about people leaving California?
Thank you.
I'm not mad about it. I'm not mad about it. What I was saying was, we're talking about all these people leaving. I don't feel that, because it still feels now. We're not talking about 8 months ago when we were all on lockdown, but now that we are not on lockdown anymore, it takes me so long to get to work now, where it used to take me 15 minutes. Now it takes me 45. But it's like you were talking about who's leaving, which is fine. I'm fine with it, but there's still people coming in. Because I still feel that wait in line for this and the
well, they're saying
it's
because due to the cost of living at California is so out of control comparative to like Texas. Because a friend of mine, was living in LA, living in an apartment, and they moved to Texas, and they've got a big, beautiful home with land. And but interesting enough, right now in California, it's a great time to purchase a home because the interest rate is very low.
Well, the interest rate is low, but you still
it's high. Yes, compared to the rest of the country, we're just it's still $1 million homes being sold every day.
Oh my gosh!
Right. I had this is Malia again, but I have the same thing. My brother, he has been back and forth between LA and Ohio, and for what we pay out here in LA for our home, he can get the same thing and get 3 times the space, 3 times the bedroom, 3 times everything. He pays for an apartment, for a condo. He pays $600 a month for 3-bedroom condo, 3 bathrooms, upstairs, downstairs, dealy, all that. It's like, why would I come back? And I'm begging him to come back. He's like, for what? He's like, yeah, I miss you guys. I'll visit, but I have it made out here. Like, I can get a house for my daughters and a house for myself and still pay less than what you're paying for one building.
Well, anybody else on the cost of living in California and whether you would stay or leave?
This is Venetia. That is a double-edged sword and a mixed bag all at the same time, because I just purchased my first home a year and a half ago.
Congratulations!
And surprisingly, I was able to find a halfway decent house in a really decent area, but not necessarily the best. But this is why I love California, because those little nuggets exist. But it's mass, because I'm from the Bay, Pinole Valley's finest. No, I'm just kidding. But for real though, but like, it was such a process. Like, if I can't even put it like this. We used to call, Mari, I don't know if you remember, we used to call the certain time in our lives, we call ourselves couch kids, because we were struggling so hard that it was like you could only probably afford to be on somebody's couch, and barely,
that's
right?
All LA is about, right?
so y'all get it, and to be that in the Bay Area is hilarious, because you would think maybe New York or LA, those places, but fast forwarding, I basically had to revert back to couch kid status for like a good chunk of time, but with kids and with husband with health issues, just to get to this point. And I still was able, even with my high ass student loans, and that I wish I could be proud of, but I'm not. And so it's to me, I feel like when I get those texts and calls from my cousins, and they live like my cousin Chrissy has this beautiful home in Atlanta somewhere, and my cousin Brian has a beautiful home in Texas, and and they're like, cousin, how can you afford to live in California? And I'm like, I don't know if they think I'm balling, so I should accept that, or are they like, this fool crazy, like, so exactly right. So I've never asked. I just be like, hey, by the skin of my teeth and the grace of the universe, But I will say that I have thought about it, dreamed about it, just relocating so I could have a pond with my willow tree and my little house. But that's not something I grew up on as a Californian, because they're like, we got the beach, we got everything, all weather. So I do know one thing, even though the rates are low, and even though it looks great, because of our infrastructure issues, we don't even have enough houses. So if you've been living in Georgia your whole life and paying $399 for rent, of course you can afford a $500,000 mortgage in California now. While we over here paying $5.75 for gas, y'all paying $1.49. Right. Do you know how cheap gas? Right. I'm sorry, y'all, girl. I just want to tell y'all.
Well, let me go, Glenda. Since we haven't heard from Glenda, you actually moved to California. Are you originally from California?
No, yeah, I moved to California from the East Coast, from Jersey, and I used to work in New York, and my cost of income decreased dramatically when I moved to LA.
Wait, Glenda, can you come to the phone a little bit closer?
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Did you miss anything?
No.
Basically, my cost of income decreased dramatically. I used to make so much more money in New York. So the living cost compared to there is, oh my God, it's super cheap. But the longer, I've been here now for 14 years. So of course, the longer I'm here, I do start to see where things are increasing. And before I moved into my apartment that I've been in 3 years, I was looking at rents for studios that were absolutely ridiculous. And when I found my one bedroom for less than what they were trying to charge in the ghetto in North Hollywood, by in front of auto body shops, and didn't look, it was kind of sketchy. I just grabbed this one. So there are certain places you can grab and you get lucky, and if you look, you can get some gems. But I could walk 2 blocks down the street and there's a 5-bedroom for $6 million for sale.
Right. Yeah, welcome to Los Angeles for sure.
My girlfriend lives in Florida, and she was freaking out, calling me. She goes, oh my God, this couple from California came and brought the house down the block for $600,000 in cash because they come from California. I'm like, that's how you do it here.
Yeah, because we know.
It's so interesting how your perspective changes, pertaining to your experience. Because I know me living in the Pacific Palisades for so long, when everybody was going through the recession, the time we, around all the wealthy people, it was like, oh, it was like a little rock pebble hit you. Yeah, there wasn't one. We were still like, woo, money everywhere. It's just interesting to see, perspective and how, what your current situation is, and how you see life in the world. Ladies, let's move on to the next question. That was fantastic. We're getting a little more into what's going on in current state of America. There have been over 3,800 anti-Asian racist incidents in the past year. More so towards Asian women, which makes up about, I believe, 68%, to men, where it's 29%. The incidents range from verbal harassment to shunning of Asians to physical assault, and which has now led to a deadly shooting that took place at an Atlanta spa on March 17th. 8 people were murdered by a 21-year-old white man, and 6 of them were Asian women. Ladies, why do you believe Asian Americans are being targeted at this time?
This is Malia. I think there's many reasons. Of course, one being no reason. Right? Just because. Another reason is because, and this is just my personal thought, I have no backing on this. I think that the society wants to be able to blame somebody for the coronavirus, and of course they want to target Asian Asian Americans or just Asians in general because of it. And so it's so easy to push a blame on a culture, especially when you don't even have all the details. You don't need it. Our country, unfortunately, will take something and run with it. And it's not just our country, it's the world overall, because it's just people. They'll take one piece of information, run with it without having any update, without having any understanding of it, without having the actual truth, and we'll go with that. So right now, it is so easy to just blame someone for something, blame a culture for something, blame some people in the States for something that did not happen in the States, it did not originate in the States. They might not have any inclination about what it really is, but because it's easy to blame a culture for something, we all know, us all being women minority, we're a double here. We have been blamed for everything our whole life. So I think that it's a target on something. I really do think that the Asian community is being blamed for the coronavirus, and so now they're done with Trump and they need something else to do. And I'm saying because we all know that these are people who lack the proper amount of intelligence to understand why they're doing something. Because I was, and I don't have any like straight details with this. I was told by a friend, somebody said that the guy killed the Asian woman because he is sexually frustrated, or he has too many sexual urges and he wanted to get rid of the women in his sight. Something like
he
that.
said
I don't
that
have the
he
full
was
facts on it, but I just,
because I guess it was a massage parlor, and he says he was addicted to sex, and he says so the massage parlors were a place that were feeding his addiction, so he wanted to get rid of those women.
You see, that's just ridiculous to me. Like, you need to probably go somewhere and get help, as opposed to feeling like it's okay to get rid of women. We're not talking about your sex addiction, excuse me. There's something wrong with you. Because being addicted to sex has nothing to do with murder.
Do you feel as if it was a racist act, or do you feel that it was about his sex addiction, as he was saying? Because that's the controversy right now. People are saying, no, he knew exactly what he was doing.
No, he knew what he was doing to a fault, because being prepared to murder someone who is not intentionally hurting you physically right then and there, that means that there's either a premeditated thing or something's wrong with you mentally. I do not think that it has anything to do with anything sexual. Of course, he can say that it was to do with his sex addiction, and he wants to use that as an excuse. I'd say something crazy too if I was going down for homicide. Like, you can't expect me to believe that you killed 8 women or 8 people in cold blood because you are addicted to sex. Okay, you know what Eric Benet did because he was addicted to sex? He just cheated on.
He went to therapy.
He didn't kill nobody. so and he would, but so don't tell me that you done in cold blood. And what are you doing with the gun in the first place? Hello. So you can't tell me that you killed these people in cold blood and it has to do with sex. You can't.
Do you feel anybody else feel like
they,
why are these things happening in the United States right now? Why specifically are Asian Americans being targeted?
Can I jump in on this?
Yes, please.
This is Glenda. I have so many thoughts on this issue, especially just what recently happened with the man that shot, what we were just talking about. First of all, this is not new. This is nothing new.
Exactly.
This has been happening, just like it's not new with Black people. It's not new with Latinos. It's not new with Indians. The other Asians. It's not new for anybody that is not white.
Yeah. Right, it's just now being showcased, but it's not new.
They were even put in internment camps. So many things have happened to Asian Americans. I mean, the list goes on, and I've been seeing, throughout the whole year of my Asian friends posting so many atrocities that have been done to them, to their elders. I just saw a horrible picture of this elder Asian woman with both her eyes blacked out and swollen. You couldn't even see her eyes. It was heartbreaking.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I saw
but yes, is this about race? 100%. Is it about sex addiction? 100%. Yeah. Does it go even deeper?
No.
Because what he's talking about, that he feels so guilty, because what I read was that he visits massage parlors that also do sexual acts. So now we're going into sex slavery. And then
interesting.
We're going into sex trade. And it's just more atrocities against women, more atrocities against Asian women. in this, especially now. It's
No, you're right, because maybe those ones that are doing the sexual acts are being forced to
really
do
want to go and do that kind of work.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Well,
no.
Glenda, you're making a really great point, because I was speaking with my sister the other day, and she was watching Woody Allen versus Mia Farrow, and they were speaking about what took place when Woody Allen,
the daughter
about pedophilia.
Right.
The daughter. Oh, honey.
Right. So the understanding of
but
the understanding of how our culture and society, allows us to depict Asian people, Asian women specifically. It's just like this concubine concept and idea of how we read.
And I think,
fetish.
Right. And we just accept it.
Smaller woman.
All women are over sexualized.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Every single, all women are over sexualized, but there is a thing about Asian women and the sexual part, the massage parlor.
It's a fetish of then controlling a smaller woman.
That's just,
so
that's a stereotype.
A majority,
And Latina women are over sexualized because they're always in film. That's let me tell you, I go out, auditions, Latina women.
Tell me, Glenda, about that's interesting. Right, Glenda, as an actress, what are the stereotypical roles that they usually have you on as being a Latino woman?
Well, especially here in California, if you're Latina, you're automatically mostly Mexican.
There's no other flavor, huh?
we're a variety of countries, that make up the Latin community. And usually you're like the gang members, Peace Side store, the complaining, nagging, mom, or the, it's getting better. I do have to say, but especially now that most roles are just open ethnicity, or there's not a lot of ethnically ambiguous roles going. But to bring it back to like Asian women, Asians in general usually, called in for like the business, the doctor, the IT,
interesting.
The scientist, and then I guess it depends on the genre. Maybe they'll be over sexualized, and I'm sure an Asian actress would be able to answer this way better than
right.
But yeah, that's what I see.
Well, let me just go back, because I want to actually move forward, because that's a great transition into the next question. But before we leave the attacks that are happening on the Asian American community, a lot of people are once again irate and up in arms about the fact of the treatment of the murderer. And the reason why I say a murderer is because he murdered these people. He didn't assault these individuals. He murdered them.
Yeah, it was pretty
and one of the things that constantly, the media will constantly try to use wordplay to help us feel a certain way about an individual based on their ethnic background. So people are upset, and they're trying to make us kind of. Some people were saying they are trying to make us feel empathy for the murderer, for the killer. They said if it had been a person of color, that perhaps the person wouldn't even be alive today.
Yes,
do you feel that is the truth?
Racist. That is evident there. How racist
100%.
this news media is, or the narrative that they always try to tell you and make you believe. And it just depends on what they want to do for that story. Sorry,
I agree. This is Malia. I for sure. But the other thing is, regardless of if we agree or disagree, it doesn't matter. It's the proof is in the pudding. We can watch on the news, or read in the newspaper, or hear, or get all of our media and find out what they did to a Black person versus what they did to a white person, what they did to a Hispanic person versus what they did to a white person, and it's all very close in ratio. There was a thing about this gentleman not having any. They didn't even no physical assault or weapons taken to him. But then there was this young lady who was getting robbed, and her son, her baby, getting shot in the head by a police officer. How did that happen? How does that happen? And they put those two together on a meme, and it's like, this woman was being attacked, and her son gets killed, and this man, he's the aggressor, and nothing happens to him. He didn't get shot in the leg. They didn't maim him. They didn't tear gas him. They didn't do anything. And then you go and then you think about other things, like little things, like there was two young men about 19 years old, and they both did the same crime, had the same judge, and the maximum was 5 years in jail with parole in 2 years, and or probation. They same day, same judge, same crime. The black kid got the maximum 5 years. The white kid got no jail time and 6 months probation. You're telling me that they both did the same crime, got the same judge, because sometimes different judges might do different things, because it is all based on the judge. And you're telling me same day, same crime, same judge, completely different judgments. Now, if you tell me the black kid was disrespectful in the court and disrespected the
that
court,
doesn't make sense.
That makes sense. But he didn't. He wasn't. You know, and you telling me like you want to give me some kind of reasoning for it? You have none. So that's
but I get your
you're
point.
right, Blair. That don't make no sense. But that's what I'm talking about. But you know what I mean? Like, it's just there's no, like, 100%. It is all racial.
Ladies, I hate to
100%. The last kid that shot people up got no handcuffs, and they brought the full McDonald's.
That's right.
Or something.
Ladies, Malia, I hate to cut you guys off, but I don't want to run out of time because we ran out of time last week. I'm going to put some information down below for how you can help and support the Asian American community with the AAPI. And I just want to let you know, it hits home really close, because I have Asian family members, and, I'm doing everything I can to support. I will be at a march going on March 26th, and I will do some reporting with Raiin TV. So just to bring more awareness.
Beautiful.
Now, Glinda, you said something great, was a wonderful transition into our next topic, the Grammys. The Grammys took place on Sunday, March 14th at the Staples Center. Congratulations to Billie Eilish, Dua Lipa, Taylor Swift, her, Meg Thee Stallion, and a special congratulations to Beyonce. She made history with
Blue
Ivy. She made history with 28 Grammys, more than any other female artist of all time. Now,
more than any other musician.
Now the controversy over the Grammy performance was Meg Thee Stallion and Cardi B. Was it too overly sexualized? What do you think?
I gotta look that up. I don't even know what you're talking about.
Their performance,
you
yes.
mean their performance. Okay, this is really sure you wanna? Sure? Because clearly, I don't have anything to say. Number one, we know what we're gonna expect to get from these ladies. Okay. They're beautiful, banging bombshells. What did you expect for these two bucket naked bimbos to be putting on? Let me not call it that, because I love them. Like, they're banging. Like, their rap is raunchy. Their look is raunchy. They're beautiful. They have confidence. They are sexual. They sexualize themselves. They sexualize others. They know what they're doing. We know what to expect. Do all of y'all know the words to all of their songs? Yes, we do. Does everybody who is mad about the video know the words to their songs? Yes, they do. So if you want to say this was overly sexual, you knew that, though. You knew that. You knew that. Now, maybe the little scissoring and things is a little bit much, but I think they still did it quick enough. Listen,
I missed that part.
It was honestly, if you were looking at it from an artistic view, they did it so quick, and they added dance into it. They flipped it. Listen, it was fantastic. They flipped their bodies. They did scissor, but it was so quick that they flipped their bodies into such a contour. If you were an artist or if you were a choreographer, you'd have been like, that.
Really?
But if you've been in a strip club, you would know that is very athletic.
But if you,
oh Lord,
I'm watching.
Venetia, what do you think?
I was like, I'm over here just tickled. So okay, let's just call it what it is. These are just women who are living their life how they see fit, and 8 times out of 10, we're only going to do what we're allowed to do. Now, And I'm not a prude by any means at all. I was entertained. I mean, I laughed, I cried, ate popcorn, whatever you want to call it. Like I watched it with my husband, and he missed that part. He like got up and left and missed that whole scene, and I was over there like, okay, but at the same time, as a parent, I get how some people who traditionally probably will let their children watch some of these shows were taken aback a bit because they were like, oh, okay. But at the same time, the pandemic has brought about an international thirst trap. The Grammys had to approve. They saw all the little run throughs before it got televised.
Right, because you're right.
Every single
thing. Everything you're going to do for every skit.
Exactly.
Every word.
That's why when Lizzo said bitch, she was like, oh my God.
Right. What she said was perfect. Yeah. So somebody said okay. And it wasn't just one person. A group, a panel had to say okay.
No, someone made a great point that understands that, of course, yes, they knew exactly what was getting ready to take place. But they needed the ratings. They needed the ratings because they had dropped so drastically. There's like, well, what do we do? Okay, let's start some conversation. Let's start some controversy because our culture and society, right? Because of the pandemic, everybody's online. Everybody's watching TV. So they know all you have to do is do something sensational and out of the, the box. And then the entire world's going to be focused right on there.
Again, I'm sorry. I got to touch on another thing about it. Because, I'm personally, I'm a very, very free spirit. And maybe that's a conversation we can down the way with Raiin TV. We could talk about free spirited people. But I didn't see anything inappropriate for my 40-year-old eyes. I honestly, compared to what happens on TikTok and all this other stuff, which I'm not on, but I didn't see anything. I didn't see labias, and the couple of dudes that were in the performance were literally not even relevant. Like they were there just for the look. So I will say, as an empowered woman, especially a woman of color in particular, because I feel like that's relevant to what they did, was that they said, look, I'm, what do you call this? 2.0 thick, regardless of where they got what put in or whatever, doesn't matter. It's all love. But I'm 2.0 thick. I'm on your TV. We are in the middle of, for all we know, the beginning of the end of a new beginning. Who knows? I'm going to just put it out there. I'm laid on the stage. I never said that I was nobody's nothing. And I can't remember who said it. I watched that because I'm a closet Britney Spears fan for life, but I watched her little biography, and she said I want to say Barbara Walters or something. She said, she asked her, she said, a lot of people say you're over sexualized and blah, blah, blah. And this is back when she was still in her early 20s at the interview. And she said, so how do you feel about that? A lot of moms want you off TV and blah, blah. She said, well, I'm not here to babysit anybody's children. I'm an artist. This is part of my art. This is just what I do. I love what I do. And I'm done inhibiting myself and keeping myself from being the true artist that I want to be. Free Britney, by the way, shameless plug. But I feel like that is so relevant. Why could Britney Spears say that? And I love this woman. Why could she say that? But Cardi B and Meg Thee Stallion in 2021 can't hovercraft their ass on the Grammy stage and just live it.
I don't want to cut you off, Glenda. Do you have anything to say about the performance?
I just watched it while you were talking, and very quick. It's not for me. It does not empower me. It makes me. I was cringing the whole time watching it. I personally have just an issue, like, for so many years now, female artists just keep getting more and more naked for their performances.
I agree with that.
To get more and more attention, and it's just not empowering to me as a female. And is it fun? Is it, oh my God, is it, yeah, but do I need it in my life? Is it going to inspire me? Do I want my daughters or nieces or somebody to like look up to that? 100% no.
I feel
Thank
that.
you, Glenda. Ladies, I don't mean to push on to the next question because we're almost running out of time. So great transition, though. Women in Power 2021. We have Miss Harris, who is our VP for the very first time, a female vice president, as well as a woman of color. The Biden administration makes history with the largest female cabinet with 12 women. Now, women still make 81 cents to the dollar, where men make $1. How do we feel that in 2021 we still have to deal with overt sexism affecting our livelihoods? Where do we? Yes, go right ahead.
Go ahead. I'm jumping in, honey. So this is Malia. I have come face to face with that many times. Working with you and Glenda, you, Mari, and Glenda down in Malibu. I took over a position that my predecessors, they had a certain dollar, and me being more than qualified for that position, I did not get that same dollar. It was definitely interesting. I had to build up to that dollar. I eventually got that dollar because I'm gonna fight for my money, but I didn't just get it off the bat. I had to gain it. If that makes any sense. I think that because of sexism, because men will be in power for as long as they are in power, I think we're always going to have to fight for that. I hope it's not forever. I don't think that I'll see a change in my lifetime, and I'm going to be really honest about it, because it's been such a hard staple. Think about what we can't get past racism. What makes you think we're going to get past sexism? If we can't get everyone to see that all of these things are big deals, if we can't get the world on board. Now, we've got a good amount of people on board with all of these items, racism, sexism, all those things, but it's going to still be a silent killer, because when is every single person who's getting underpaid going to talk about it? No one's going to say, no one. You think I'm going to walk around and say that at this company, name company here, this person name here, made more than me? No. Why would I? So we're going to be stifled, and because we're not able to have that conversation openly as we are to have about racism, as well, because racism is a collective. This right here, being underpaid because you're a woman, that was a little bit touchy, because it is case by case. It is very hard. It is very interesting. It's also, what are you going to do? Quit? No, because this is a job. I need this job, right? I fought for this job. I busted my butt for this job.
Right.
I busted my ass for this job. Okay, I busted my ass to get where I got, but you know how long it took me? It took me twice as long to become a director of operations than it did for the next Joe Schmo to become a director of operations. But I'm here. And I did it. So I think it might take a while. I hope that it doesn't. I hope that my nieces can grow up in the world and make that money because of their brains, because of their action, because they have what it takes. Not because their boobs are bigger than the girl next door, or because their butt is firmer, but because because they bleed every month.
Yeah.
But I want it to be because of their work ethic, because their auntie taught them to kick ass. And if you want to work 10 hours a day,
hello, you're talking about Lismalia Lamorris.
You can kick butt because you can do it. Like, hello now. So I want it to be because of that, but I don't realistically know.
Thank you, Malia. I don't mean, Glenda, let me ask you, being in the movie industry, is that still something that you talk about? Is that prevalent? Are men receiving more pay for the same job?
When you're in the union, when you do a union job, there's just a flat scale rate, and then it goes depending on your status of how big of an actor you are, that you're or if your agent's really good at negotiating, can negotiate you a higher than rate most of the time. So if a male is getting paid more than me, I don't know it. And if my agent knows that, she's not going to let that happen. She will defy that situation. In my life, I'm very fortunate that I don't think I've ever been in the position where I'm getting paid less than a man, because I've always done jobs that it's sort of like, bartending or catering or something like that, where everybody kind of starts from the same level or just gets tips kind of thing. But no, it's ridiculous. I just watched the movie Suffragette the other day, and it's all about females not getting enough pay and not having a vote, and they didn't even change that till 1925. So
can I jump back in?
Exactly.
Glenda had a crazy awesome point. Some people don't know that they're not getting paid as much.
Yeah, I was thinking that.
Very true. Very true. Not really quick, Venetia, you have a beautiful, intelligent, brilliant, amazing daughter that you are raising. And how do you feel as a mother raising a daughter in this day and age? And, you know, she's gonna be in the workforce, you know, very soon. How does that make you feel?
Afraid. I'm not a fearful person, but if I have fear at all, it has to do with my children.
Yes.
And I hate to say, especially my daughter, because there's a whole separate type of fears when you have sons, especially if they're sons of color.
Yes.
But for I guess to sum it up, I can say that like I work for the state. I didn't grow up thinking I'm gonna work for the state one day. You know what I mean? Like I knew I made a conscious decision at a pivotal point after having an epiphany, and I knew what I was sacrificing for dream wise, you know, the things that make you happy and you can get paid for it wise, when I decided to go this route.
Right.
And even then I faced some opposition. But I don't want that for my children. I especially don't want that for my daughter. Not saying I don't have an okay job or whatever. It's not like that. But I don't want my daughter to have to make those choices for equality or, you know, I don't want her to have to, you know, be like, should I look at this quantitatively or qualitatively when I decide what I'm going to do? You know, like, I don't want that.
Yeah.
But I will say that by her seeing me and the stability that I do have, what I'm doing is helping her determine how can I do what I really want to do. And I'm putting, because my mom and my dad are putting me in a position where I'm going to leave the house with good credit. I'm going to leave the house already having money in the bank. I'm going to leave the house prepared so I can go off immediately and do what I want to do. Even if all she wanted to do was be a secretary, well, baby, you be the best secretary you can be. You bring that coffee, you make them whatever it is, if that's what's going to make you happy. So, you know, I will say I've talked to my daughter. I'll say this really quick. I talked to my daughter about my job because she was like, why did you choose this? Because she sees me at home now working, like frustrated about certain things. And I was like, well, it's not that I love the field that I'm in, but I don't necessarily love what I'm doing. But one thing I can say about equity when you have maybe state, city, you know, county jobs is that you come in at certain ranges depending on your you know, your work history or your education. It's not like, oh, Bill, I like your tie, you're getting a raise, but Betty, sorry, you a little slow today, I'm gonna dock you. You know, it's like I came in at a number and I learned how to work the system to get my way where I needed to go to keep going to the next level. So that means somebody that came in where I came in, we are making the same. We both get annual raises. We both have health care. We both have a 401k. Like we have everything. Now I choose when I'm ready to move on and up and out when I want to do that. So I just am trying to instill that in her. Like, do what you want to do that's going to make you happy on your own terms.
Beautiful. Yeah. Well, Venetia, I thank you so much. I don't want to cut you all off. We're getting close to the end. Really quick, I wanted our last talk on Talk Tuesday. We talked about cancel culture. And I just wanted to follow up because we spoke about Sharon Osbourne and the Cheryl Underwood issue, where Sharon Osbourne became very upset because Cheryl Underwood stated that her friend, who happens to be British, Piers Morgan, stated that, as everyone knows about the Meghan Markle being interviewed by Oprah Winfrey, he said he didn't believe Meghan Markle, you know. So, however, it turned into a big hoo-ha because now Sharon Osbourne makes inappropriate remarks to Cheryl Underwood, which came across, I guess, as racially insensitive. The talk has now been suspended temporarily. So the show is off the air now as a result of this exchange of racial insensitive comments that were made. The Bachelor, which is also, you know, America's TV show, the host made some comments about one of the contestants and that he didn't disapprove of her having a racially uncomfortable past. She had said some racially insensitive things or gone to some racist party, something. However, bottom line he was removed as the host of The Bachelor and replaced with an African-American man. Ladies, are we getting to the point of where cancel culture is creating your lack of freedom of speech, or do you believe that we are right on target and we've got to continue in the same direction?
This is Venetia. I just want to say, I feel like cancel culture is one of those things that's like the flavor of the month or flavor of the pandemic or something. These are things that have already existed. A lot of stuff that people are in a tip about is stuff that already existed. And now we just got to name it. We got to call it this. We got to point this person out. Let's go find some videos from 10 years ago, and add it to the fire. It's I won't say that it's unnecessary. I just think that it is overdone. Maybe parts of it are necessary for certain things, maybe, but PC only goes so far. Like, we need to stop being so sensitive. But and as far as Meghan Markle stuff goes, that's tricky, because it's just like if it was our families. We know what happened in our house. Can't nobody tell us what we saw or what we heard or what we felt. So right. That's what I think. I think it's a little unnecessary.
Thank you, Venetia.
Can I get
anybody else?
Yeah. Sorry, this is Glenda. Can I get a clarification on something? Because I really only saw a little bit out of everything you said. I really only saw a little bit about the Bachelor thing. But my understanding, and I saw pictures, was that she was in a plantation party. It was like a party in college. Yeah, about like being in the plantation. I don't think she had blackface on or anything, but I think somebody did, or maybe I'm speaking off. But I think that was the thing. So I'm wondering, why is it that I don't know what happened with the host? Why is it that the host got kicked because of that?
Interesting. No, great question. The host was reprimanded because the young girl admitted to what she'd done. She said, yes, I did racially insensitive things, and now I want to go and educate myself, figure out how I can fix what I did wrong. I was ignorant. I had no idea. I was young, and this is just what was happening at the time. So she admitted it. What happened was the previous bachelorette, Rachel, who was a African-American woman, as a lawyer, she interviews the host, and she says, how do you feel about that? And that's when he says, get over it. She was young. I can't hold her responsible for that. And as the host of the show, CBS, once again, it's about money. You say something racially insensitive, the company goes, oh, wow, okay, we need to be aware of where we'll get canceled.
Sorry, the country, what Venetia was saying, it's really just about what's on trend right now, what the what the networks don't want to be labeled as the racist network or something they did. So everybody is so scared that they're just pulling the trigger on everything. Just like, they're like, okay, no.
Now, how do you feel about, because right now I feel like so many people are just speaking up and just telling the truth at one time where they would have been silenced. Meghan Markle spoke up. She told the truth. Just recently, a young woman who was physically assaulted by her, I believe it's either her boyfriend or her husband, was a football player. She spoke up and told the truth. I feel like this is kind of a theme that's happening in 2021, is that where once people were silenced, now they're having the strength to stand up and speak.
I think this is Malia. I think it's because there's more support now. Back in the day, you could say that someone assaulted you and someone would blink their eyes at you and keep going. So, I think that it's not necessarily about like anyone crying wolf or anything. I think it's like when someone speaks, someone else is listening now. Well, I was going to go somewhere, but I didn't want to go there. I know for a fact personally that when back in the, let's say 20 years, 30 years back, you can have spoken up about something and you would get in trouble for it.
Yep.
So let's just say that you would be wrong for saying something negative about so-and-so. Why are you talking about your uncle like that? Why are you talking about your cousin like that? Why are you talking about your stepdaddy like that? Or let's think about the movie Precious. You think Precious had the baby on her own?
No.
Precious' mom's boyfriend did that, and the mom blamed Precious.
Actually, that was Precious's daddy.
Oh, honey, you just broke my whole brain. You just broke my whole
Sorry.
brain.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so where's the coffee? Where's the tequila? That's the real question.
At my house. No.
Glenda, shake me up something good, girl. But you know what I'm saying? Like, the reason why everyone's speaking up about all these injustices is because someone's actually listening. You did not get listened to as a woman, as a minority woman, period, or even as a woman. The white woman weren't getting listened to either. Black woman, white woman, any woman. Yep. It doesn't matter. People are listening now. People are now, there's enough women as well saying, I'm not gonna take this. And y'all saw enough with J-Lo. She whooped her husband's butt because he was whooping on her. You think that I won't take a crowbar to your neck? You put your hands on me? And Mari Brown, you seen my hands are bigger than most, so don't play with me. I will slap the dog.
Don't mess with Malia Morris.
Don't you think these women are now saying enough is enough? Either I'm gonna use my voice to speak out, or I'm gonna use my hands and whoop your butt. Take me to jail then. Take me to jail. Like, a lot of people now feel more support, I think, is the main focus on that. I also think for Meghan Markle, I think she tried. Yeah. I think she tried. She tried to deal. She tried to do the right thing as a wife, as now being in, you know, she may have said, you know what, this is a little bit different. I'm not used to this. Let me see how I'm supposed to act. Is this the right way? Do we just put everything under the rug? Let me not be myself real quick because I'm going into a family that I have never been involved in. This is some upper level stuff. So let me try to contour. But the inner Megan said, no, ma'am. No, thank you. I cannot hold this anymore because now it's about my child. Y'all done gave me all the business, but you're not about to talk about my babies. And I think she was like, enough is enough. So I'm going to use my voice, my platform, and speak out. And I know I'm going to get backlash. I know y'all going to kick us out. I know. But guess what? You're not about to talk about my babies.
Plus, they need that check because they ain't getting that royal money no more. So, you know. And I ain't mad. I ain't mad.
All right, you know what I mean? But what in fact is going to happen to her children physically if she leaves them there? Right. Let's say she's going out to do her the princess duties, and Harry's doing his princely duties, and the babies are in the care of the royal palace. What's going to happen to them? Are they going to be fed last or less? Are they going to be sitting in them diapers all day because no one wants to change them because they, you know what I mean? What's going to happen to these babies? Are they going to be maltreated, malnourished, malcared for? Are they going to be Cinderella locked up in a box or something? Like, you know what I mean? Like, yes, I'm going far-fetched, but you don't know what they're doing up in there. And neither do I.
Really,
so, you know,
yeah, I don't want to cut you off. We're coming into our last few questions because the hour is almost up. Do you believe that the possibility of creating heaven on earth, or do you believe that heaven on earth exists here right now? And we just are, yes.
I just wanted to get a jump on Malia in the last question. You know I love you, Malia.
You go, girl. You go, girl.
100%, 200%, absolutely. I don't necessarily think there's a heaven or hell. I think you create it for yourself in this world right now from who you're being. I believe in dimensions, but we don't have enough time for that conversation. So yeah, without speaking about different dimensions, I believe, yeah, you can create your heaven on earth or hell.
Thank you. Thank you, Glenda. Anybody else?
This is Venetia. I do think it's possible because every moment, every breath is a moment in the making, right? So we choose how we're going to experience our day in our existence. Every day we get up, it's one of the many things that we have is the ability to choose. So I do think that it's possible to create heaven on earth.
Thank you, Venetia. And Miss Malia Morris.
I will not be long-winded, I swear. I am inconsistent with the group. We create everything. We create our happiness, we create our madness, and we feed into all that on our own. It is what we choose to respond to. You can't make me mad. I could get mad at what you said, but that's on me. So the same goes with our heaven and our hell. I can choose what makes me happy, and I can choose what doesn't. So I agree 100%. My heaven is what I make of it. My hell is what I make of it. I agree to either one. It's on me. All that's on me. I can walk into the grocery store that's full and say, damn it, it's full. I'm so pissed off. Or take my black ass home and order food off of the app and let them bring it to me.
Blessed be the apps.
Or and blessed be the app that brings me my food to my front door.
Ladies, thank you so much. The hour is up. I have had the most amazing fun time. And I just want to say thank you so much for joining us here at Heaven on Earth podcast. I'm Mari Raiin, and I'm sending you all love and light.
Thank you.